Yeah! What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burrow77 coming to you live with another Super Saturday college hoop slate. As far as Saturdays go, this one's kind of skinny. We only have 137 games starting at noon Eastern. Getting right into it, we'll go over Saturday's results. I got my ass absolutely kicked. We went 1-5. Virginia hooked us on the -2.5. Butler didn't look great. Marquette couldn't score any points. Cincinnati and USF went off. They scored tons of buckets. U of I -2 was the only thing that went well for us. And Indiana State fumbled the bag once again to the SIU Salukis. Updating the season record a little bit, that 1-5 was a -2.21 unit day, which is never great. The college basketball show record is now 23-35 for -6.66 units. I got no excuses for you guys. I got to try and pick it up. I have taken some suggestions from my boy Kyle Kerms that is hopefully going to speed up my recording and editing process that will allow me to focus on the handicapping a little bit more. We are still plus money for the season though at 134, 5, and 126, up just shy of a unit. It's not about how you start the season, it's about how you finish it. We have conference play coming up, conference tournaments, NCAA tournament. It's a really exciting time to be into college basketball. I'm looking forward to getting into this slate. We'll start at noon over on CBS with Houston going to Baylor. Right now, this game is a pass for me. I was really hoping to see this line open up around Baylor +3.5 or +4. That's kind of where my projections had it. I really respect Baylor's building. The sports books clearly respect Baylor's building. The public clearly respects Baylor's building. They also kind of match up well with Houston here. This is an in-state rivalry game, so it will hit differently. And this is a new in-state conference rivalry, and there have only been 2 previous head-to-heads in both programs' history. Houston has a slight edge on the offensive glass, but Baylor is very solid defensively. Both teams are really secure with the basketball, but both teams look to create a lot of turnovers. Foul trouble could become an issue, especially if you start trying to do too much. Both of these teams play at a really slow pace, and they're not in a hurry to do anything offensively. Both of these teams prefer to shoot from deep and from distance, and they do not work close to the rim. Houston absolutely sucks at free throws. Baylor is fine at the stripe, but they do get there a lot, and Houston will put them there a lot. Both of these teams are absolutely elite at rebounding. They specialize in waxing the glass. To me, this one's going to come down to who's in foul trouble, how many free throws each team knocks down, and who's willing to put in the work to get that one extra rebound. I have this as a coin flip game. I really want to get to Baylor plus the points / the money line. I'm going to kind of sit on this and wait to see what happens overnight and see if we can get to a +3.5 or a +4 for Baylor, and maybe get a little extra out of the money line there as well. Keeping it moving at 2 p.m. over on ESPN, we have Duke on the road at Wake Forest. Wake Forest laying -2.5 here as home favorites. Away wins are always hard to come by, and 3 road wins in a row is tough for anybody, including Duke. Wake at home is always really tough. It's a fun team to watch with a lot of talent. They do tend to struggle closing out close games, though. Wake makes their free throws when they go to the line, but Duke does a really good job at not putting people at the free throw line. Duke is average at free throws, but should be able to get to the line a little bit more. Wake mostly shoots from distance, and Duke likes to finish inside at the rim. The turnover battle here is going to be too close to call or to specify an edge. Duke has a little bit of a defensive rebounding edge here. Both of these teams are shooting absolutely red hot right now. I'm just really pumped to watch a bunch of these guys hoop. This should be a fun coin flip style game. I do think Duke is playing the better basketball, even though Wake Forest is way better at home. Give me Duke plus the 2.5. I might even sprinkle the money line here. Guys to keep an eye out for are Boopy Miller from Chicago on Wake Forest, along with Hunter Silas and Cameron Hildreth. I think you guys have heard me talk a lot about those three. It is a fun team down there in Wake. And Duke's got Filipowski and Jeremy Roach. I'm just excited to see all these guys do battle on the same floor. And this is going to be a sweaty one. We're taking a lot of road dogs this weekend, so we'll see what happens. This slate isn't for the faint of heart. Keeping it right on, moving to another road dog. Alabama is on the road at UK. UK is at home, laying -3. I like Bama in the points here. This opened up at Bama +1.5. UK has been taking a lot of money. I know they're really talented. I know that they feel like they're the best team every time they step on the floor. This is tipping off at 4 p.m. over on CBS, by the way. Sorry if I forgot to mention that. Alabama at University of Kentucky. I think the Bama OT home win isn't really an emotional letdown spot. That comeback, to me, is more of a statement W of, yeah, we were down. Yeah, we did some things poorly. But in the end, we stepped up. We forced the overtime. Florida probably should have beat us. But respect our house. Respect this team. Look what we're made of. We're here to hoop. We think we can beat anybody on the planet. And Kentucky is just way too Jekyll and Hyde for me. They're able to go into Auburn and punk them in their own house. And then you go and lose outright to LSU. Kentucky's also had problems in their own barn. They lost 3 in a row for the first time in, I don't know, since like the 1940s. So UK is definitely going to want to get right in front of the home crowd here. Neither team is interested in getting after the defensive glass at all. They would rather just trade buckets the entire game. Bama should have a little bit of an edge on the offensive glass. Kentucky has some really good rim protectors, so it'll be hard to finish dunks and breakaways. Bama loves the transition 3. UK likes to work in the paint, but makes threes when they take them. They're the best shooting team from the floor when it comes to 3-point percentages. They just don't take very many. This should be a track meet. Both teams want to sprint up and down the floor and play in transition. Alabama's defense has been improving a little bit, and so has University of Kentucky's, depending on which Kentucky team shows up. Alabama really needs to focus on taking care of the basketball. They can be reckless, and that will cost them versus Kentucky, who loves to pick your pocket and move quickly. This might be the highest over-under total of a game this entire season. I'm interested. I think Alabama showed me a lot more with that win in overtime the other night than Kentucky did with their win at Auburn. Keeping things moving right on into the ACC. Va Tech is on the road at Pitt. Pitt is laying -2.5. This game will tip off at 5:30 over on the CW network. This is a combination bounce back and letdown spot for each team individually. Pitt really need to get right after getting their backs blown out at Wake Forest. This is a clear letdown spot for Va Tech after completely dusting in-state rivals UVA at home. Earlier in the season, this Pitt team struggled a lot, especially at home, but they have looked like a new team in the second half of the season. Va Tech normally makes a ton of free throws and has a great free throw percentage, but Pitt does a really good job at keeping teams off the free throw line. Pitt absolutely sucks when it comes to converting free throws into points. Both of these teams love the outside shot and don't work the paint very much. Pitt chucks up shot after shot after shot and hopes that they keep falling, whereas Va Tech is a lot more efficient. When they choose to shoot, it tends to go in. They put up a really low shot volume, but they have a high field goal percentage. Pitt, on the other hand, has a low field goal percentage, but they're number 6 or something like that in the nation in volume. Pitt will absolutely demolish on the glass at both ends of the floor here. I don't want to go outside of this 3-point number. Look, this one, they're just going to chuck up a bunch of threes, and we're going to see who can splash more down. In a contest like that, I like the home team in the home barn with the fans behind them. And like I said, I just think this is a big letdown spot for Va Tech after just completely embarrassing Virginia in Blacksburg on national television. I think it's a lot to ask your kids to keep shooting the way they did when they hung over 70 on UVA the other night. Keeping it moving over to the Big East, we have Butler on the road taking on Seton Hall, who's laying -5 at home. This is tipping off at 8:30 p.m. over on Fox Sports 2. I might be biased here. You guys should know I make a lot of college basketball content. We've had some good luck. We've had some bad luck with the Bulldogs. But I like Butler and the points in this one. This is a rubber match, and Butler lost the first head-to-head in their building. That was a little bit of a trap game and an emotional letdown spot because Butler had just gone on the road and beaten Marquette. Hall's strength of schedule doesn't impress me at all. Of their last, 4 wins, we're talking about beating DePaul, Georgetown, Xavier, who is Jekyll and Hyde, and a St. John's team that is in complete shambles. Butler is on a 3-game losing skid, and they absolutely have to get right. The last time Butler lost 3 in a row, they went on the road and beat Marquette. I'm just saying. As I mentioned, Hall has been playing better recently, but I don't rate their competition at all. Both teams are really good at keeping their opposition off the free throw line, and then when they get to the free throw line, they both knock them down at a very high clip. Butler likes the outside shot. Seton Hall favors the paint. When Hall's rebounding on the offensive end, well, they get a lot of second chance opportunities, and they have big guys that like to go up for putbacks, which makes them dangerous and able to cut scores quickly. Seton Hall does have a major ball security issue, though, and Butler is super good at picking people's pockets, Posh Alexander especially. I just think it's always a treat to get to watch DJ Davis, Posh Alexander play. There's not a lot of games left in this season. It's hard to beat a team twice in a season. I like this rubber match on the road with both teams fighting to get into the tournament. Give me the Bulldogs plus the 5 right now. Real quick, just something a little different that I've been doing on my end for you guys. Something I picked up from Kyle that's making my job a lot easier is instead of waiting for the board to catch up to me in order to bring you guys content, I'm going to start pre-picking 5 games, writing about them and breaking them down. And we are going to talk about those 5 games to start the show, regardless of where numbers open up. That's why I'm a pass on the Houston Baylor game at the moment, and that's why I'm waiting on this Butler line, because I saw it open at right around 3 and it's been bet up to 5, so I do want to see where a little bit more of that money goes. And by writing and getting the bulk of my graphics package and notes together early in the day before lineups come out, I can bring you a more accurate and consistent lean sheet with plays I would actually want to take at these numbers. Plus, I'd kind of like to start going to bed before 4 in the morning, especially since I'm covering soccer all day starting at like 7 in the morning. I know a lot of you guys don't care. That's just a personal aside for me. But I hope you understand that making quality content takes time, and I am still learning the process. As I get better and more efficient, you guys will have more content, so it works out for everybody. Just wanted to get that out there because we are changing the format of the show up just a little bit because we're going straight into the lean sheet now. These lines were all fairly accurate at the time of recording, which is right around midnight. IU plus 4 on the road at Penn State. This is a classic emotional letdown spot for Penn State after a big win over U of I. This is at noon on the Big Ten Network. College of Charleston at Townsend. Townsend catching plus 2.5. Townsend has been a home wagon all season, and this is a big upset alert game. This is at noon on CBS Sports Network. Washington plus 15.5 at Arizona. Washington doesn't really get blown out, but I could see Arizona trying to make a statement after that loss to Wazoo. I don't know. I just think this is a big number on Washington. 2 p.m. tip-off over on CBS. BYU minus 1.5 at Kansas State. Both these teams need a win bad. BYU sucks on the road, but analytics always like them for some reason, so it's on the sheet. Tipping off at 2 p.m. on ESPN+. Boston College plus 4.5 at NC State. I like this a lot better when it opened up at plus 5.5, and I was thinking that we could maybe get Boston College plus 6, but it looks like it's going the other way, so this is a no play for me right now. Iowa at U of I minus 9.5. Iowa has absolutely no defense, and U of I need a statement home game after that Penn State fiasco. This tips off at 2:15 on the Big Ten Network. I'm fine laying double digits with U of I at home there. In the Big 12, Cincinnati at TCU. I like over 146.5. Both teams are scoring a lot lately, and this score is just too low. I like TCU against the spread as well. They lost an overtime game in Cincinnati and will be looking for revenge on that. This tips off at 3 p.m. on ESPN+. South Carolina +4 at Ole Miss. It's really hard to win two head-to-heads, but we will take the points here as the last game came down to a 3-point match. It stayed under, and I think they only scored like 8 points in the last 5 minutes and 43 seconds. So yeah, this one's going to be a rock fight, and I'll take the road team in the points. South Carolina has been a road dog cover machine all season too. Tipping off at 3:30 p.m. over on the SEC network. UNC -2.5 at UVA. Yeah, I know UVA just got embarrassed and they need a bounce back game and they're at home, but UNC really needs a win as well. I like UNC to get right and win this conference. Virginia kind of was challenging for the conference, but also is probably not, just because they don't score enough buckets. Duke exists, but it's kind of a three-way tie up there. I like UNC to separate themselves a bit on the road here. I'll lay -2.5. I do not want to go outside the -3. That tip is at 4 p.m. on ESPN. TTU at UCF in a pick'em. Give me the home team in a bounce back spot after 4 straight losses, starting with an away loss at TTU. UCF just lost a heartbreaker at home to Cincinnati. They have been faltering here late in the season, but Texas Tech away from home doesn't impress me. Give me UCF in a pick'em, 4 p.m. on ESPN+. Back in the Big 12, Oklahoma is at Oklahoma State for basketball bedlam. We're taking the over 139.5. I think I took 140 in Discord. I've seen this all the way up to 141.5. I'm still fine taking it there. Oklahoma State is getting hot from 3 at the right time. This is bedlam. Give me points. Give me madness. Give me craziness. Big in-state, in-conference rivalry, 4 p.m. over on ESPN2. Georgia Tech +8.5 at Miami. This is only if Pack and Cleveland are still unable to go. If they are unable to go, I like Georgia Tech catching 8.5, and I will look to play the under again. Because without Pack and without Cleveland, Miami struggle insanely. Tipping off at 4 p.m. over on the ACC network. Idaho at Northern Arizona, laying -3.5. I stand by my statement that Idaho is spineless, even though they did win that in-state rivalry game with Idaho State. It's an in-state rivalry. I think it was a one-off. This team is spineless. 4 p.m. on ESPN+. I checked with my boy Tone, who went to Mason and still goes to Mason games all the time. We're back in George Mason here on the road against Loyola Shy. I was very publicly wrong about Mason versus Dayton. Tone messaged me relentlessly about it and says that Mason is certified back. I've been ragging on Loyola Shy all year. So this one's for you, Tone. We're back in George Mason plus the 3.5, 4:30 p.m. tip on USA Network. Auburn at Georgia. Georgia catching 8 at home. Look, I'm only talking about this one because Andy from Kyle's show is a big Bulldogs guy. The Bulldogs have gotten us some monster covers, and we've been on the right end a bunch of them this year. I don't know. I like the Bulldogs at home catching 8. Tipping off at 6 p.m. on the SEC network. Texas +8.5 at Kansas. Yeah, I know. Going back to Texas on the road, it sounds like a huge mistake. Kansas can't cover numbers at all. Texas sucks on the road. Bad trend versus bad trend. Somebody's got to win this battle. And I think it's going to be Texas. So I'll take Texas with the points. 6 p.m. tip on ESPN. That doesn't mean I think Kansas loses the game. I just don't think they cover the number. In the A-10, Davidson at Richmond. Davidson is just so bad in conference. It's absolutely unreal. Richmond laying -5. That's a gift. Go ahead and lay it. 6 p.m. on ESPN+. Missouri State +7 at Belmont. Missouri State's defense will travel here, and they beat Belmont at home by 7 points. I really like this Missouri State team. They have a ton of fight in them. They don't quit on basketball games. 7's too many points. Tipping off at 6 p.m. on ESPN. Texas A&M Corpus Christi in a pick'em at Lamar. Texas A&M Corpus Christi has been an against the spread monster this season. They're also a fun team to watch. Tips off at 6 p.m. on ESPN+. FSU plus 10 at Clemson. Listen, I hate FSU, but they will somehow get up for this game, and they will somehow backdoor cover a double-digit spread like this. Clemson probably does win the game, probably does win it by a significant margin, but it'll probably be 9. Like, let's be honest, it'll probably be 9. FSU's going to find a way to backdoor cover this game at 10. So give me FSU in the points. 7:45 p.m. tip over on the CW. Nova catching 12 at UConn. This opened at plus 13.5, and I saw it steam down to plus 11.5 between when I made my list and when I started recording this show. So sharps are all over Nova. They think that's too big of a number. I kind of disagree with them here, but I'm not super into laying double-digit spreads. UConn should get right here and look to completely railroad the next team they play, but Nova is very difficult. I don't know. UConn's the best team in the country, so if you're into laying double-digit spreads, this one might be for you, but I'm going to be a hard pass. 8 p.m. on Fox. Washington State, a.k.a. Wazoo, minus 5.5 at Arizona State. This number just feels a touch low. It could be an emotional letdown spot after a big win versus Arizona. But ASU just flat out sucks, especially on nights when they can't get the ball to go through the hoop. They play hard on defense, but there's a lot of times this offense just, it feels like there's a garbage can lid on the rim. Give me Wazoo laying the 5.5. Tipping off at 8 p.m. on ESPN2. Colorado State team total under. I don't care what the number is. If you guys have caught me over on Kyle Kerm's show, you know this is the fuck you toast play. It is 3-0. I don't even bother to look at what the team total is set at. I just wait until about 7:45, remember they're playing, and then go bet the team total under. It's been working ever since I chirped toast, so I'm going to go back to it. 8 p.m. tip-off over on CBSSN. Mississippi State -2 at LSU. This is a classic LSU letdown spot. Mississippi State defends the 3 well and everything well. This tips off at 8:30 p.m. over on the SEC Network. Utah +7 at Colorado. I don't know. I don't love this Buffs team. I don't love this Utes team. I really don't like how the Utes are completely trash at the free throw line. But I do have a buddy that I went to high school with that works for Utah. This one's at 9 p.m. on the Pac-12 network. So absolutely nobody can watch it. If I gun to my head, if I have to make a pick, give me Utah +7. Last but not least, USC catching 5.5 on the road at UCLA. You guys know I hate UCLA. I don't respect the Bruins. This opened at +4.5, and if it walks out past +6, I like it a lot more and might look to play it, but this doesn't tip off until 10 p.m. over on ESPN. Woo! And that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching my UCL content. That video did great. Not just with the winning tickets, but with the views and the interaction I got. I really enjoyed that, so I will be bringing you another UCL video on Monday. I got to do my plugs before I get out of here, so be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube page to catch all of my content while Josh is still on vacation. You can also catch me on Josh's station, which is the Land Your Bets Network, LYB. It's that logo right up there in the corner. Please like and subscribe to his YouTube. Every Thursday at 3 p.m., I do a live soccer show with Bet US Network. That is also live on YouTube, so please go like and subscribe there as well. I do the La Liga show. I also do 2 Foot Talk every Wednesday night at 7:30 with my boy Young Leg. You can find 2 Foot Talk at TWO Foot Talk on Twitter. We also do merch at tftdrip.com. There's all sorts of Burr Oaks gear, hoodies, sweatpants, shorts for the summer, tank tops, long sleeves, short sleeves, you name it. We got it. Thank you all, as always, for tuning in. I hope to see you at the window. That's Talking Hoops with Oaks. We out. Peace.